I declare the meeting open, and this advises members of the public that by being in attendance you consent to your image or voice being live streamed in accordance with the city's live streaming policy. Could I call upon the Deputy Mayor to welcome us to country?
No, it's Councillor Acker.
Yeah, Councillor Acker doesn't welcome us to country.
Thank you, Your Worship. Bienvenue acknowledge my elders past and present. Ngala ina kuro ngala no neja nonga boja. Nonga mo jerpa neja na kwabrak nonga boja kurlong. From the beginning of time to the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Jinity Kadaj and Jerpa Neja Wern, Noongar Moja Maya border. Look, listen, understand and embrace all the elements of Noongar country. This is forever our home. Kaiwan Jungan Ko Jerpa Neja Noongar Boja Darsley Wangani Noongar Boja. Hello and welcome. I am as happy as we gathered here on Noongar country this evening.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here, and before commencing proceedings I would like to acknowledge that we come together tonight on the traditional lands of the Noongar people and pay respect to elders past and present. Could I call upon Councillor Acker to read the dedication?
May we, the elected members of the City of Kwinana, have the wisdom to consider all matters before us with due consideration, integrity, and respect for the Council Chamber. May the decisions made be in good faith and always in the best interest of the greater Kwinana community that we serve.
Apologies. Leave of absence previously approved is nil. Public question time. We haven't received any questions from the members of the public.
No questions.
Councillors, how many petitions? Nil. Presentations? I don't believe we have a deputations. The minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 17th of December 2025. Is there any additional information? Any questions? Someone like to move that way? Move, Deputy Mayor. Seconded, Councillor Rouse. Either councillor wish to speak? Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Item 8, declaration of interest by members or city officers. I believe there's a declaration from the Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Your Worship. Item 18.1.
Any other declarations? No. Request for leave of absence? Nil. There's nothing on item 10, 11, 12. 12.1 minutes of the Bullamara Aboriginal Consultative Committee meeting held on the 2nd of February 2026. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved. Councillor Sargent, seconded Deputy Mayor. Either councillors wish to speak?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mayor Feasey. I would just like to thank the Bullamara Committee for their dedication to ensuring Kwinana continues to hear, see and walk a shared path, building strength, understanding and fostering a unified community, celebrating our cultural heritages. I would also like to thank the committee for their careful and respectful decision on the Department of Justice bench, location, artwork and wording. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sargent. Deputy Mayor. Anyone to speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Nothing on item 13, 14 or 15. Number 16, 16.1, change of vesting for reserve 50531. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Questions? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. My question is in relation to the report that mentions the clearing of 9 local native trees. I guess there has been recent cases, and probably it's the pattern where the city kind of resists or minimises the clearing of mature trees as part of any kind of development or works. So I guess residents who read this may be surprised that in this case we are, I guess, looking to go ahead with the clearing of those 9 local native trees. Could the city just put in general terms a process, or in general terms describe the process that it's gone through, I guess, to assess the need to clear these and why the decision, I guess, is being made to move forward with the clearing of these 9? I guess why was it unavoidable?
Sorry, can I just clarify that these trees have actually already been removed, correct?
I guess, yeah, in whatever tense I need to state my question in there.
Through the Mayor, we do put a lot of effort into avoiding tree removal. The Director of
We do put a lot of effort into avoiding tree removal, and the Director of Sustainability and Planning, can't remember his title, I could probably talk to about the significant work we put into tree retention in subdivisions, and we're working hard against a state government system that is about knocking trees over for houses. So we do really value trees and tree retention. But there's the occasional time when it is necessary for the city to remove a tree, and the main reason we remove a tree is because of safety. So, whether this be roadworks or the risk of tree fall on a playground or similar, where we will intervene. In the case of this particular tree removal, it was related to a black spot grant, and a black spot grant is based on a significant crash history at a location. So, that particular intersection had enough accidents and likely accidents into the future to justify a significant expenditure. So I think the project was over $1 million. So it's a large project to protect lives and to reduce the incidence of accidents and also the consequence of accidents. So it's when we're looking at that type of situation, so safety, human life, is where we will accept the fact that we do have to remove trees, but in almost every other situation we'll avoid it. Because they're native trees, we also go through a state government process. So it's not just the city's decided we're going to pull trees out. We have to get an approval through the state government, and that is subject to public consultation and an appeal process. So we go through a significant process to get approval and to justify the need to remove those trees, both from a state government regulatory point of view, but also the scrutiny of the public consultation process. And then we comply with any conditions. So the condition in this case is, as per the council report, we have to then protect an amount of land significantly greater than the area of trees that we've removed.
I might just add that, yes, in terms of the environmental assessment, so the Department of Environment and Regulation, EPA, essentially makes a decision under delegation as to the extent of works that's required to offset. In this case, it is a requirement that the city revegetates and upgrades a certain area of land. It's usually, in this case, because of the type of vegetation, it's a 10-to-1 ratio. So it is actually quite a significant amount of additional land over and above the area that is being cleared that is to be revegetated, and that's a 5-year program that it needs to be implemented by the city to bring an area of land up to a standard that the EPA will review and sign off on at the end of that 5-year period. And then that will compensate for the loss of that vegetation.
Just a follow-up question, if I may. My understanding from reading the report is, I guess, through the exercise that was taken, multiple configurations were assessed to see which one would be viable, and then in this case, the configuration was chosen that I guess was best for the outcome that we're after with road safety, but also equally minimises the number of trees that would be removed. Is that correct to say?
Yeah, through the Mayor. It is a process to get the grant that we go through multiple iterations of design. First of all, we look at whether or not we can reduce the risk on that intersection. So we look at different scenarios and we do a cost-benefit analysis approach to see whether or not what we're proposing economically is justified. So that we're spending a significant amount of money, is it worth it to the community to invest in our project versus something else that might have a better improvement in road safety? So we do go through that process. And of course, when we go through that design process, we try to minimise impact on not just trees, but also services, because they have a significant cost. We've got private property to work around. We've got to think about street lighting. So there's a lot of parts of the design process, but certainly the challenges of working around native vegetation are front of mind.
Thank you.
Thank you, Worship. So 0.7 hectares is to, under the clearing permit, is to undergo rehabilitation and revegetation the next 5 years. The entire reserve 50531, which that is part of, is to also be vested conservation. Does that mean that area will also, are there any plans to revegetate and rehabilitate that whole reserve area?
Through the Mayor, we have in place a natural area management plan that spells out how we manage all our conservation land. So although this particular land wasn't classified as conservation under the Land Administration Act, we still treat it as conservation land. So we won't be making a change in what we do. We'll still be doing our weed control, additional planting, the work that we would be doing anyway. The only difference might be we'll reassess the timing to see whether or not we need to bring anything forward, but outside of that, it's as per normal.
Thank you.
Is it typical to use an existing asset as an offset? So with the removal of those trees, considering that the reserve is owned by the city and a public recreation space that, as you said, has already have these controls and mechanisms in place in terms of maintenance and revegetation. There's already an obligation from the city or a commitment from the city to do that. Is it typical to use an existing asset as an offset?
Through the Mayor, Mr. Barry might want to add to this answer, but from my experience, well, it's a negotiation process, so we do have to do an offset. The state government or the regulator wants that offset to be as close as they possibly can get it to where the trees are removed, and this particular reserve is adjacent, and they see an opportunity to improve that reserve. Fortunately, we would do that anyway. We're not obliged to do it. Now we are obliged to do it, but we were going to do that anyway. Is it typical? Perhaps the planning director might want to add to that.
Thank you. It certainly is a changing area in the way the EPA and we're actually implementing their policy requirements. So there are councils that have bought land in regional areas as offsets, and they do have had an offset bank, and the state government operates with offset banks as well. But over time, those offset banks have become less effective in addressing the local impact on vegetation. So DWER has looked at how you can best achieve revegetation of existing areas that are degraded, or and as an alternative, because it's also become very difficult to acquire certain stands of vegetation in a pristine state in a location that is in proximity to the clearing. So there's a bunch of issues that have gone on. Over time, a lot of those easy win locations have already been offset. And so now we're getting into, and DWER is really looking at how can we facilitate development and improve areas that would not otherwise have been improved. So this is becoming the norm in a lot of areas now.
And certainly, given the close proximity to those trees and the animals, the fauna that exists, taking care of that reserve is a good outcome in terms of population of native species. So that's great. But I do note, as Mr. Elkins noted as well, that there's no additional resources that were noted in the report, no financial implications.
Sorry, have you got another question, Councillor Penny?
Yeah, it was another question.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got two more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. That there's no additional financial implications. So, and as you said, that we're already maintaining these reserves. My question is then, what more can we do? Like, what does revegetation look like in terms of making those spaces really hospitable to current and future, bird life and animal life in this area? And I'd just like the city to speak to a little bit more about, our increased commitment to that space.
Through the Mayor. So what will happen with the change in classification and the obligation that is now on us is we will increase the priority. So we prioritise it in two ways. One is a revegetation priority. So we have a working group called the EMU that sits over on top of our environmental work, because we run environmental processes across the city, not just in my area or the planning area, so that we can coordinate, and that includes coordination of the management of what we have and the improvement of what we have. So through that EMU group, they will then look at how we prioritise that work. So something that may have been quite a few years down the track would now be a higher priority because we've got this obligation. We would also look at whether or not we should be increasing the priority within our management. So the Natural Area Management Plan that we operate puts all our conservation estates into a hierarchy, depending on the quality and the community value of the land. And because the expectation is that we improve the quality and value of this land, we would expect that we would increase the priority of this particular piece of land within that plan. So it will have an impact, but is there a cost? No, we'll just rearrange the order that we do things.
I'd say there's a couple of, through the mayor, sorry, a couple of opportunities in that avenue. We can be linking it to the future Loop Trail care and having groups supporting it. But also, if we've got, I think the best approach would be passing their details on to us, and then we can have our either trails officer or environmental, I've forgotten what Jennifer's title is, we can have an officer look at bringing that group together to start a Friends of group.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. I had my question before my fellow councillors asked, so now I'm slightly unsure and seeking a little bit of clarification, because I was going to ask if the city could speak to what the plan was to complete the scope of works that will be required to enable the restoration and revegetation within the requirements listed. What I was looking at, I guess now when we're saying we were kind of going to do it anyway, was when you go on attachment page 26 and you've got the table, it's specifically referencing that we need an 80% survival rate of total revegetation specimens from your tube stocks, that we can identify 17 local native species within the area. Are these things that currently exist? Because I was initially thinking, when you look at the photo that you've provided on the maps, that there is going to be work, and what's the city's plan and process to achieve that? Thank you.
Thank you. Through the mayor. Yes, that's correct. You've got a determination by the state government. They've imposed conditions on it, and that is their completion criteria for us to deliver over that 5-year period, is to make sure that, and that's monitored. So there's a constant monitoring process. So our environmental officers will work with our operations teams and parks officers to ensure that we undertake those works and report and provide the information to the DWER officers over that period. So in page 20, I think, it has an offset. There's a series of 19 and 20. There's the actual clearing permit, which contains sort of very specific requirements through there, and page 26 is the actual, essentially just the summation of the completion criteria. But there's actually the processes laid out in the clearing permit for us, and which is the same as what we would do with land developers when they have land that they need to cede to the city as conservation or public open space. We follow very similar processes in monitoring their performance as well when they hand over assets to us.
Could I please ask a Thank you. I guess, as of right now, do you have any data or understanding? Do we have 17 species present there, or do we need to introduce some to more, like you said, it's $1 million safety project and it's quite comprehensive, the requirements of the city to, do we feel comfortable, or does the city feel comfortable that we will be able to achieve those requirements at the in-depth level that it has asked?
Through the Mayor, we do this type of work all the time. So the reason it's not a cost, it's just a reprioritisation, is every year we do rehabilitation work, and we run it through, again, our EMU committee that prioritises and gives us direction. We have some very, very qualified environmental staff who provide that guidance, and separately we have a team of qualified operations people who do the on-ground work. So in terms of the number, that's not a problem, because the staff that will develop the plan, the really smart scientists, will look at the species that are endemic to that area and identify no less than 17. They wouldn't stop at 17 because that's what it says. They will make a very good biodiverse ecosystem that is endemic to that area. So we're not concerned about the number or our ability to do it, because it's what we do normally.
No? I think we need someone to move that. Moved, Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Wood. Would the councillors wish to speak?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent.
I just want to say thank you to the City of Kwinana team for looking at, you've taken an opportunity that it was an offset and a requirement to increase our conservation, and as you said, it's work that the city already is dedicated to doing, but this particular motion is just going to improve our conservation capability. Yes, the loss of 9 trees is never something that is taken lightly in this room, but the potential of saving even one life of a resident of the city of Kwinana, I just highly recommend that we all vote yes to this, and thank you for your time and effort behind this and the extensive work you've obviously gone through with the EPA before it's got to our desk for us to make this decision. So thank you.
Councillor Wood.
No, thank you, Your Worship.
Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. And for those people playing at home, the road will soon open when the tree stump is removed. Once the water pipe that is currently travelling through the roots of said tree is removed, tree stump removed after that is occurred, and then they will reinstate the water main. That is the delay currently in opening Henley Boulevard. 17.1, road dedication Mandoglup, lot 4072. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved, Councillor Acker, seconded Councillor Wood. Either the councillors wish to speak?
No, thank you, Your Worship.
Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 17.2, Amendment 167 to Local Planning Scheme Number 2, Development Contribution Plan 6, Mandoglup, adopt for advertising. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved, Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Penny. Either councillor wish to speak? Councillor Penny?
No, thank you.
Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 17.3, Amendment number 8 to the Town Planning Scheme Number 3, Amendment number 168 to Local Planning Scheme Number 2, Short-Term Rental Accommodation. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Questions? Someone like to move that way? Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Acker. Either councillors wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.1, Deputy Mayor has declared an interest and will depart the chamber.
Just recording the time.
Deputy Mayor left at 6:26. Disposition by way of lease suites 1 to 6 Parmelia House, part of 10 Hutchins Way, Kwinana Town Centre, between the City of Kwinana and the Institute of Indigenous Wellbeing and Sport of the WA Aboriginal Corporation. Is there any questions? Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor.
Someone like to move that way? Moved, Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Acker. Any councillors wish to speak?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent.
I've had the privilege in my other hat as president of a Kwinana netball club to have worked with this organisation to ensure that young girls from our community that have had barriers were able to participate and support in a NAIDOC carnival, and Kwinana had the second largest representation, considering it was the first time we built it, and this amazing organisation was proudly standing with us as we did so, to take our local community girls that would not have had an opportunity. So I have firsthand seen the real world impact that this organisation provides to our community, and highly recommend us voting in agreement to this motion. Thank you.
Anyone speak against? Or did you want to speak for?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Quite simply, the Institute has positive community and Indigenous wellbeing outcomes, not only in Kwinana but around the state, and I think it's an effective use of a city asset. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Acker. Anyone speak against? Put to the vote. All those in favour? Motion carried.
Just pause for a second.
Deputy Mayor is re-entering at 6:28. You're homeless now, Deputy Mayor. 18.2 Quarterly Performance Report, Strategic Community Plan and Corporate Business Plan, Quarter 2, October to December 2025. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor.
Questions? Someone like to move that question?
I have just a question from the attachment on page 205. It talks about uncollected vehicles, and I was just wondering what that pertained to.
It's your director, isn't it, Ms. Greaves?
No. It's Greg. It's the funds 27,000 for uncollected. We'll take that one on notice.
Any other questions? Someone like to move? Moved, Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Brown. Any of the council wish to speak?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent.
Again, I just want to thank the CEO, his directors, and all the staff of the City of Kwinana that have contributed to this fantastic report that is filtering down to show the directions that are set at a governance level having true impacts to our community, and your ability to hit targets and to have clear explanations when or if there is a delay, and most of those are not within the city's scope of control. The transparency in how you display your documents as well, this particular report, I just want to congratulate you all on a fantastic body of work, because I'm aware to present this is a very large piece of work, and everyone that has played their part, to thank you very much for your dedication to our community.
Councillor Brown? No? Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.3, monthly financial reports, December 2025. Any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor.
Anyone has some random questions in relation to that item?
Sorry, I just have another one on that. Could you explain what custom wrapping paper pertains to for the Aquatics Centre?
I'd say
It's on
wrapping
page-
paper that was
Page
custom made.
224 on the attachment.
That's the next item.
Yeah, it's
the next-
18.4.
That's the next item.
So
No,
It's-
it's from 18.3.
monthly financial report.
Yeah, that's the accounts for payment.
Wrong one.
Yeah, Ms Greaves will find the answer for you why we move on this one. Any other questions in relation to monthly financial report? Someone like to move that way? Deputy Mayor, seconded. Councillor Acker. Either councillor wish to speak? Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Motion carried. 18.4, accounts for payment for the month ended 31 December 2025. Just wondering what the item was for custom paper, the aquatic.
Through you, Mayor. It is for the Aquatics Kids Christmas Party event, so I can't tell you exactly what was on it, but I think there was a Sammy the Seal Christmas themed wrapping paper for the children's Christmas presents they got for those that attended.
Christmas themed wrapping paper. Is that something they sell at Big W, Director?
It's custom.
It's got little fish on it.
Any other questions?
It's for the kids.
Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Wood, seconded Councillor Rouse. Would either councillors wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on item 19, 20. Is there any late or urgent business?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor.
Reports of elected members. Deputy Mayor. Councillor Acker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Since the last council meeting, I've attended the senior SITS committee meeting, and just to report there that the treasurer got back into zero, so the accounts are all looking good and up to date. I've completed my DAP training along with Councillor Rouse, and went to 2 citizenship ceremonies. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown? Councillor Miller? Councillor Penny?
Nothing to report, Your Worship.
Councillor Rouse? Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Since the last council meeting, I attended my first Access and Inclusion Reference Group alongside Councillor Wood. There was a review of the group's terms of reference, new member nominations from our community, reviews of Acrod Parking Bay placement in new city upgrades, and discussions regarding best practice reporting on access-related concerns to the correct channels within the city. As a point of note, it was made regarding those who are parking on footpaths within our community and the major barriers it causes for the public with mobility issues as well as pedestrian safety. It was wonderful to see this group in action, and I look forward to reporting to Council on future meetings, and would like to thank the City of Kwinana staff for their vital role in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wood?
I've performed all those duties required of me, and as an addition to what Councillor Sargent was saying, we actually need more members of the community, either disabled people or carers for the disabled, to join our committee. Or our reference group, shall I say.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. There is nothing on item 23. Mayoral announcements. Just others cover off too. We launched the early years strategy on Thursday of last week. It was greatly attended by pretty much all the service providers, I think, in the city that deal with young people. So there's a number of recommendations that we are now moving towards doing. So it's great that after, I think it was a 6-month process, that we got that strategy launched. And the other thing that I'd just like to say is just thank all the volunteers, certainly the emergency service volunteers that have been working tirelessly over the warmer months, pretty much since Christmas. I think we've probably had a bushfire somewhere every day since then. So I certainly wish to just thank those members of our community for all that they do. That being said, I declare the meeting closed at 6:37. Thank you for attending.